though. That's. Can we please? Can we? There we go. That looks more like the game, doesn't it? We can at least see the entire game. That's gonna be way more helpful. So yeah, there we go. Back at the Redwoods castle. Last time we started the ruin rebuild, of course, the new ruin here on the brand new island next to Redob and the Redwoods, which is a very cool location. Let's be honest, it's a very cool place. And we built one of the entrances, one of the gatehouses, technically I guess the side gate, and it was the first time playing around with Castlecraft, and I think we learned some things, you know, all the different options and variants that these might be a little bit tricky because there's some of these routes that we can't destroy or take away, so we kind of have All right, that is... I mean, it's not the cleanest, but I feel like we've made the most of it. And we've actually secured quite a decent amount of space now, because this is a decent amount that you could still utilize as part of your actual base. Does this line up nicely? Not quite, but that's fine. We don't really need a window in here because we already kind of have a window. No, rebuilding castles does not go well on official. No, I wouldn't really recommend doing something like this on official. Oh, that would line up very nicely. That one doesn't, so I guess we'll keep that as part of just the old structure. I have to fill in some of those walls. We can keep those windows. They're a little bit broken windows, but you know, it's the imperfections we love when rebuilding a ruin. All right. So that means we have a foundation in here, which means we pretty much have the inside of this. It's always nice because this you could quite easily do. You just need a few foundations basically to get the entire your base started, right? Like you don't need a lot of structures here. I think what could probably be a cool effect here is using some of these pieces to kind of create some of those slopes, like it's still being repaired a little bit. They tried to repair it. And then we're going to see what this entrance is going to look like once we add some doors in there. Should be pretty nice, right? What's the variance for this? There is. Oof, this would also be nice, but yeah, I feel like that is better suited. Would have, yeah, that's pretty nice. Because, I mean, the top part is not really going to go open, but at least it kind of feels like it's a big door now, right? Like it feels like it's just a tall door in there. I think that's quite nice. Have you thought about releasing your own style of cosmetic mod? I mean, I would love to. I just don't have any skills to make that happen. You know. I would have loads of ideas for skins, but yeah, you kind of need to be able to make them as well, right? All right, so over here is where we want to start our watchtower. We're basically going to raise this up to make a tower. We might build out on this platform if we can make that meet up. We, of course, also have this entrance over here where we can add in a door and some skins, and then probably we can change it to these. There we go. There we go. That looks quite nice. I can't really get the stairs going down, and this would be too big. I mean, it kind of lines up already. You can just walk out. I think we'll keep that, not to make it more messy than it needs to be. So, yeah, we have a decent space in here to use. We can, of course, add in more railings over to there. And I guess that is where... Oof. Can I get... I can get a railing there. Or a pillar there. Right, so now if I delete the rest... Oh no, it's gonna go. We can figure that out, right? Because if we do another pillar there, then it should stay. Right, because now it's going to get deleted, but then... Oh no, it did delete it all. That is quite annoying. I guess what we could do is just get a beam there first then. And we'll use that as the snap point, because we do want to have this one here, right? To mirror that side of the railings. There we go. Although maybe we should have used thin ones. Oh, and now you stay, of course. Oh, I deleted a little bit too much there. Would you even see this? Well, I guess we don't need it anymore because my pillar somehow... It somehow stayed. I'm not quite sure how I did it, but it stayed. We're not gonna doubt that at all. It is there. It is what we need. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, you could definitely collab or outsource it. Yeah, I would like to. Of course, I would like to. But yeah, time is the thing, right? Managed to get this spot on official, but it's really bad because of supply crates. Yeah, there's official and ruins. I feel like is not the perfect match. Not the perfect match, but hey, you can still try, of course. All right, I think we probably want to get this pillar up there, and then I guess we kind of want to make sure that. Can we line it up with this height? Because that would be nice. That would be nice. So that is 3. And the front here is 4. Right? Yeah, that's 4. I'm not sure how much of this we'll be able to keep. We'll try, but... So ideally, we would want to make a 4x4 build here. 4x4. Of course, that is going into a little bit of the landscape, but that is fine. I doubt we can take much of this away. This doesn't look like these are harvestable rocks. I think that is all part of the landscape, so that's just something we're going to have to embrace. But at least it means that for the watchtower, we can kind of start by the 4x4 blueprint, right? Yeah, that feels fair. And that means we also have much more. What does it look like if I actually use foundations there? Because that might be... Yeah, that's not... Definitely don't use foundations up there because that's going to stick through. So we need to keep using ceilings, but this does seem to line up quite nicely here as well, so that's quite good. That is definitely quite good indeed. And we can kind of just fill in this entire courtyard, because even if we're not going to make it a building, it's just going to be nice having it as a courtyard. And I guess the real problem is going to be trying to get some more foundation support here. Because of course it currently doesn't have it. I think we can at least add that pillar in there. Because we kind of want to make sure that we can go all the way to the end here. Might have to ghost to be able to do that. Because I can't seem to be able to place any extra pillars there. And I think here's still the same issue. Yeah, we're still in the existing build, so we don't want to have anything like that going on, and we can't really have pillars going up. Oh, we could, but actually this is a different snap point, isn't it? So that doesn't help us if we try to connect it up that way. We need to... Let me try and ghost. I'm gonna hide because otherwise I might show my password and I don't want to. There we go. So I think if we just get like a small pillar in there. If it will let me. Oh, it won't let me at all. Oh, here we can. I mean, it's not great. Where else could we get it? Could we get it back there somewhere? Let's just get them wherever we can. There we go. It's either there or there. I mean, it's not the best spot, but maybe if we can get these last ones in, I can take out my pillars again. And if only we could get it snapped to one of these angles here, that would be nice. But I guess otherwise we can definitely figure out a way how to make that nice, right? At least we have this entire courtyard now is part of our foundation or part of our ceiling, so we can easily turn that into a build, which is nice, which is kind of the biggest part of ruin rebuilds. And I'm sure we could work something out, because we can either just turn it into something, or we could maybe, you know, make it look like some extra supports or something. I don't know. Let's see what it would look like. I'm pretty sure it's already going to blend in quite well, right? Okay. We could have two tiny railings. Fill in those tiny walls. Do I want the beam though? I guess I need the beam. Or... yeah, maybe that's better. Not make it heavier than it needs to be. That's fine. Alright. There we go. So that means we have the ceilings up there, which are supported for the rest of the build. This inside is just kind of going to be this. I think what we might do is add a few of these, because if I remember correctly, there we go. Oh, I remember the thing. I actually remembered the right skin. Proudest moment ever. Oh, I guess we need to check here. So that we can still walk underneath them. There we go. Very nice. Actually, let's not forget about all those skins as well. Yeah, so now that's looking nice, looking supported. Guess this is... you could park some a tame in here or something, and then you have a decent amount of space. And hopefully we'll be able to work out a way up to this layer. That's kind of the next phase now, I think. Is figuring out if we can kind of maybe make a stair like this. Will that be big enough? Because that would be kind of nice. Yeah, that fits. It fits. So that's what we do. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, this is how we get down. And then if we want to, we could actually also fix these railings in place. There we go. Awesome. So we already have the way up to the next layer, which is always good. Then over here, yeah, we kind of want to try and see if we can maybe keep a little bit more of these intact. Or at least kind of line up the new windows with these old structures. There we go. I guess this is not going to have a window then this side. Oh wait, it wasn't these that I needed to use as a window, right? I needed to use actual windows, probably, because then I could have glass in there. There we go. Yeah. That's kind of what we want. That's totally fine. So yeah, this is the rebuild site. And then this is the ruined site. That's fine. That's a pretty decent transition. And then I guess we kind of get to decide how tall this tower is going to be. Because right now it's 2 from this layer. 2 pillars up. 3, 4. Maybe... I am going to make additions to it, of course, so this is not the entire tower, so I kind of need to decide how high this part of the structure is going to be before we add any details. But I think this is a decent, because it can't be too small because it's a 4x4 tower. If it's going to be smaller than this, it's going to be quite silly, isn't it? Unless we make it smaller, but I feel like making it smaller would also be a little bit silly, wouldn't it? Although we could do a lot more cool details if we did it like this, 2x2. But can't really get away with that. Massive tower. Probably I shouldn't do a massive tower here, actually. Like, this is not the main castle. So that means we probably are just gonna make this a normal wall, just to make the next phase a little bit easier. Although we could still use that window. We could just do this and still keep that window going. That could work. Yeah, and then this will be 2x2, so it's a little bit more downscaled, which is probably more fitting. And then the rest of this guard post, we're of course still going to make look nice. There we go, because we can at least, of course, have these. Oh god, I remember. Do I remember? I did remember. There we go. New castle trim. That kind of lines up so we can have a little courtyard. You can still add a little building here, of course, because it's kind of just meant to be a little bit of a guard post inside of the castle walls. So that means we are going to have the entrance to the tower over here. We are definitely just going to have normal walls on these sides, because there's also still a little bit of rocks just coming into this. We'll have... We can probably get away with a window over here. Maybe we'll do it like this. Yeah. And then above these normal ones, we can go for a double door. There we go. Make this into a nice entrance for watchtower. And with the skins, of course, this is gonna look pretty damn cool. There we go. And we can probably make this curved, right? Yeah, that looks quite nice. Did we get raided? Did we get raided? Did I see a notification? kind of disappeared. Oh, there we go. Mystic raid. Hello there, Mystic. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? I thought I saw something pop up, but it kind of disappeared again. I guess because I've got something pinned. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're rebuilding the Redwoods castle here on Ragnarok. You know, next to the Red Orb. We did some last time. And we're working on adding a little guard post in here. Yeah, it does go super quick. I wish there was also just a notification coming in the streaming software. It doesn't seem to show anything outside of YouTube itself, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, thank you so much for the raid and welcome in, viewers. So yeah, we're rebuilding. Last time we did the guard or the well, yeah, the gatehouse, I guess. We kind of escalated the gate quite big. But, yeah, we're now working on a little guard post right behind the gate to make it safe. Rebuilding this existing structure inside, you know, trying to reimagine what this castle could be. 3 a.m. Oh, damn. Yeah, have a good weekend and have a good night. Damn, that is, yeah, that's a late stream. All right, so yeah, we're rebuilding this castle. I'm using the Castlecraft cosmetics. And last time we got some explainers by the man that made them, as well as Mikey. Aaron showed up explaining some, so I feel like we know a little bit better what we want with these now. But yeah, we're getting a good start with this guard post. It's always a little bit tricky, you know, getting the foundations and the and everything in place for the ruin rebuilds is always, I feel like, the most time-consuming phase, and then after that, it can go quite quickly, depending on how crazy we go, of course. But yeah, I feel like that's a decent size for a tower there, because I mean, it's not the main castle yet, right? We don't want to go too crazy. I will spend years rebuilding before we get to the end. So yeah, we have a nice little staircase to go back into the ruins as well. They're interconnected with each other, and so far that is all going quite well. Making good progress on that. Let's actually just reskin all these ceilings that we've placed so that it looks a little bit more like a castle and doesn't stand out as much as just using vanilla structures. Although you could definitely do similar things without skins. I did it on the island. If you just paint them in like parchment colors, they usually look more castle-y already. But yeah, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with this tower. I think we definitely want to raise it up a little bit more with the walls. So we have kind of got the first layer, the entrance layer of the tower. And then this is probably the next floor, I would say. The question is... I know the answer to my question. I think we do want to have like an actual staircase and not just ladders going up. And I think now that we have all these quarter pieces, this is actually much easier to do and get away with than before, because yeah, now we kind of have way more options to get a decent staircase into a space this small. There we go. Look at this. Pretty nice like that. We probably want to have a little bit of support there. Probably no support over there. Yeah, we can just bring it up. Although I guess we want to have the thin pillars over here. The only shame is that for that, it's good. Well, technically we could do a railing here if we really want to. But yeah, the half railings don't have snap points as well as the quarter stairs. So you kind of need to work around that, which I hope they fix at some point. Because definitely would be a lot easier if you could just get your railings next to these stairs. We just have to do a little bit more work. I guess I can't do it next to this one. That's not going to be possible. That's too small a gap. But we can at least do this. And have this one. So that's going to be safe. I guess we can't do that because we actually do need a bigger amount of space there. So we'll have this going on. We need a little bit more space for the staircase to come up. There we go. That looks nice. Yeah, so I guess now we want a railing past this one because we can do that. And if we get the full pillar there. So yeah, full pillars do allow you to get the snap points. And then after you've done it, for some reason, you can keep it next to these smaller ones. I don't know why. It's ARK logic, but it works. And it will give us the small staircase to go up here, which is very nice, of course. As well, we want to probably get these windows done. Is that right? Or do I need to use... Yes, I need to use the trim on that. There we go. Nice tall window. Feels right. Sometimes the rain on Ragnarok is so subtle. You can't even notice it. It's like kind of in doubt. But yeah, it is definitely raining. So let's clear that out. To get a little bit more of a curve into things. Skins sometimes do this. Like, this is what I mean. This is a ramp, but it looks like a roof. So you can match it with this to make like a little bit of a curved roof. And I hope we'll get steeper roofs as well, so that we have basically 3 tiers, kind of like some mods do, which would be really good for building. But we'll see. All right, let's see. We have the windows, and if we add the skins, they should look quite nice. Skin the walls as well to turn it into a proper castle. There we go. And then I think we do like that narrow tall window. I think that fits this quite nicely, and it is a little bit better than these smaller ones, although there are definitely some other ones that are pretty good as well. Oh yeah, the double windows. Kind of forget like how many options there are available. I feel like this does the most for our build. You know, breaks it up the most. And then I think this means that this is already going to be the next floor here. And this will actually have... actually, we'll extend this out on all sides. So yeah. This is where this gets more fun. And we get more details in here. And we will... I think I might want to change the layout of these. I think what I want to do is do it like this, because then the snap points that I get are a little bit nicer for the details that I want to add underneath these sections. So we'll add these quarters for now, because then basically I can have my slope walls in the right position and not right at the edge of the build, and it's still the same size, but yeah, just getting those different snap points will be quite helpful. So having these snap points instead, not on the corners of this tower, will, I think, look a little bit nicer. There we go. And then I believe I want the trim on those. On all of those, actually. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and I think I want these arches. The wooden arches. I mean, I'm not sure what else is there. We have full arches as well. Ooh, these bigger ones are actually quite nice too. They look a little bit more like proper supports. Maybe we actually go for those. Yeah, that does look a little bit stronger. It gives a little bit more to this whole tower, I feel like. Quite like that. That's a big piece. There we go. So yeah, these sides bits are definitely going to be the village skin. So these are going to be like some wooden additions. So that's not facing the right way. There we go. Oh, that one is not facing the right way either. We do want to have them all be in sync with each other, because otherwise that's going to drive me crazy. There we go. It's a skin, so yeah, you can just install it. It is a premium cosmetic though, so you'll have to purchase it, but it is, yeah, it should be working on official. There we go. We have pillars on the corners here. And then I want to at least have windows on these fronts for sure. We have to, right? Definitely have to. And then I think we don't need windows on the sides, because otherwise it's going to be a bit much if we do that. There we go. And then it's probably be nice to keep these like shallow roofs instead of going the bigger roof for these side additions, because I don't want to make this too crazy. And this should look quite nice, right? What does this look like? What does a thin... Oh, that's a trim. I don't want the trim. So yeah, a thin beam we can't really see too much of. So I feel like we might have to just go for full beams. Just to make that look all a bit better. There we go. Some lovely textures as well for these village structures. There we go. So yeah, basically we're building these additions on all 4 sides to kind of pop the tower out a bit more, make it less flat. Although we are also going to still continue the tower upwards, of course. So, I mean, probably still want to have these walls going on, and then we'll have to make some nice doorways, of course, to each of these sides. I think what we'll do is we'll keep them open, but we'll have some nice arches. So it is slightly open, but also still a little bit different sections. So basically we want double door frames in there. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, this, if we turn it all to the castle, should look quite nice. Top layer here. All the way around. And then if we change some of these variants, yeah, we should have these entries. I feel like that is gonna look quite good. There we go. And then I guess it's time to add the roofs on these, right? Now we should have these variants. Can't really do an overhang on the side because that will overlap into each other. So we'll just have to keep these quite simple. But I am assuming that if I do this, there is going to be a variant that looks like a roof. Oh, there's actually a lot of stairs. There's a lot of variants for these. Look at all that. We can actually make some very nice shallow stairs. And yeah, we can't really go over to the sides, but I think we don't need to. I think this is fine. I love the textures of those roofs. That's quite nice. Nice wooden panes. There we go. And I guess what we could do is check if this is a thing. Probably is a thing. Oh, it's only the full thing. I thought there might have been a shorter variant. I think it's 5. At least for me, it was €5, and I think that's usually just the default price for these cosmetics. All right. So we have those. Do we actually want to have... Yeah, I think we just want to have these shutters, because then if we open them, it will actually add a little bit of detail as well, right? Yeah, standing open. So I think that's what we'll do. Just like that, on both sides. Add them in all around us. There we go. We'll do it from the inside so we can instantly also open these windows to get some nice details. There we go. Open up. All of those. And there we go. So that's already looking quite nice, I think. You know, making it into a little bit of a tower. Now I'm wondering, because we had those really cool trims earlier. I just kind of want to test this. It does also work this way around. So technically, you could also use this as kind of like supports for something, right? And then you could even have like a little pillar like this. You know, something like that. I think that looks quite nice. There's a little bit of a support. I can only really do it on that side because otherwise it's going to kind of flow over the edge, but I think that actually works quite well. There's a bit of extra detail. I can't seem to add a pillar in there. There we go. Yeah. Some supports to the tower. There we go. Okay, now we need to kind of figure out the top of the tower. And I think what I would like to do is basically expand this by just that extra layer. Again, creating more depth for this. We don't want it all to be too flat. And I think this is going to help a great deal with that. We'll go around, skin these. I do think we want to have the village there up here as well. There we go. Because I think if I do these, we can make them into some nice supports. Definitely feel a little bit more confident with these Castlecraft skins now. After last time. It was really helpful that Mikey and Aaron showed up to kind of explain this all. No, I need the trim pieces. And I think there's also a wooden variant of these. But basically, as you can see, these have like these little support pieces, which is quite nice to get some cool details into your build. And I think, as I said, yeah, there's some wooden variants. So we want this one. There we go. All the way around. Perfect. Oh, changing the wrong one. There we go. Yeah, because that looks like that next layer is supported. Yeah, this is Castlecraft. Yeah. There we go. So now it's time to build the top layer of the castle here. Or this tower. Now the question is, what do I do window-wise? I think maybe we'll go for something like this. So windows on the corners. There we go. And then we'll just have a full wall in the middle. And then I think we have to make this too high. Just to give it a decent bit of height to it. Is that too much? No, because we're going to basically have a nice layer here. Yeah. Because what I think we'll do is we'll have a layer here, just like this, with ramps. And then we'll go into a layer with actual roofs. So like this. And then of course it ends in a ceiling because we now know that is a variant for that. So we can make this work and get a awesome glorious castle or roof skin to get a really cool tower. There we go, and we fill in these corners. So yeah, this is what I mean with kind of curving these roofs. That's why if we could have an even steeper variant, you know, you could extend that curve even further. There we go. I think that looks quite nice. There's probably some things that I want to see. I want to see if, does this have variance. No, it doesn't. This one does. I know this one has quite a lot of variance. I think I like that one. With a bit more lines. All right. So what now? We want to change the weather. I feel like it's a bit cloudy. It's sometimes so hard to tell. I feel like on Rag the weather effects are a little bit differently. You know, you can clear the weather and it doesn't always completely clear up. Okay, so we have these. So that's definitely going to be... We definitely need some nice windows for these, right? Yes. There we go. Just like that. Let's do the roof first. I feel like we'll stick to the village tier. I think most of the castles will probably want to have castle roofs, but since the top of this tower is using the village tier, I feel like I want to try switch it up for this roof. And, well, first of all, see if this is possible, if this variant is here. Doesn't seem to be there. Wait, it was this one, right? Let's try, because otherwise this might have decided it. Wait, what was this? Oh, it's the trim, isn't it? It's the trim skin. Yeah, it's the trim, I know. There we go. Instantly turns into the right one. But now the question is... Oh yeah, we do have this for the other skins. There we go. Perfect. So we don't need to change the roof type. There we go. It's all working out. You keep the nice roof going. Just like this. Awesome. Almost there. There we go. And then I definitely want to have the ability of doing a little flagpole on here. So we will change these skins. That's actually quite nice too. All right. And then I guess, do we want to have beams around this? Maybe not. Okay. Well, we'll see what we'll make out of this. Do I want to have... What does this do? Does this have variance? It does. We have glass here too if we wanted to. Okay, we could have bigger windows. Full windows. Round windows. Okay. I'm not quite sure. I think the normal one is kind of what we want to go for, to be honest. Is it? Yeah, I think so. I do think so. Oh god, I went too far again. There we go. That's the one. That's the one. All right. Let's get these skins applied to all of these. And then I do think we want to just have glass windows for those instead of the shutters. And I do want to try if we can maybe use this as the top layer. Get in an extra texture. There we go. And I think Aaron said last time that they might add this wood variant for all of the things, so also for the windows and stuff. That would be nice, because that basically means you have an extra texture and tier to work with, right? Yeah, we definitely will need some flags. What I also wanted to do, there we go, is I want to add in these. There we go, look at that. That's so fancy. So fancy that is a thing. I do think, is it a bit too top heavy? I might try. I mean, I do like the curve, but I do feel like maybe this is what I want slash need. There we go. Just testing, you know, just seeing if that is in fact what I want or need. Yeah, I think that is what I want. Is that what I want? I do quite like this. Maybe I just don't need this full wall in there. Maybe I just need to lower this whole thing. I think that's what I need to do. Maybe I need a quarter wall. What? Magic? It's floating. There we go. Not floating anymore. Yeah, I think what I need is a quarter height difference. Because otherwise it's a bit much. A bit too high for my liking. What gun are you using to cycle varieties? It's the variant cycle gun made by Sandy. It's definitely recommended if you build with skins a lot. Height wise, like it doesn't feel as extreme or crazy as before. There we go, that looks nice. Then we go and get it all into the village skins. We'll need to do a little bit of changing, of course, again for the ramps, but it will be worth it. We will have our lovely roof. There we go. Change them all. There is definitely a lot of variance in here, isn't there? Easy to forget that there's this many options. Like, this is also pretty nice. Like, these wooden planks and even the shallow staircases. Definitely quite nice. And then, of course, on top of here, we want to do some pillars. Change those. There we go. Yeah, that looks quite nice. That is more of the tower that I wanted. And then, of course, I did want to have these additions on the roof as well. There we go. Hey, Etho, what if you place diagonal supports? We can't really place diagonal things without mods. I guess we could do railings. I don't know what railings... No, we can't really do diagonal railings either, right? Because I could only do this. But not quite sure if that's worth it. That looks kind of weird. That looks better. Is that what we want? Guess in the middle sections it wouldn't be that weird. Might be nice. Little bit of detail underneath the roofs. Okay, well, let's test it with this side first. I mean, it is nice. I don't mind it. I think we'll keep it. I think we'll keep it. Just to make the undersides of the roofs a little bit more interesting, right? There we go. Yeah. I like that. That's a pretty nice tower. I don't know if I want to go too crazy on the ends of the roofs. I don't know. Don't know if I want to do that. I think we already have a busy enough roof. What I do want to do is, just as we did here, we added a little flag. I think we want to do something like that here too. So let's get a flag. There we go. So that's gonna either be this one or this one, and they're kind of supposed to go that way. I'm not entirely sure if I can get away with that, because for some reason I guess that this one is better suited for a flag. There we go. I mean, it's almost the same way. Oh, I'm in a tower now. There we go. Look at the flags just flowing in the wind. Lovely little details. I do want to add, I think if we do this, we can also make it into some cool details. Probably above the entrance could be nice. Don't know if we want it anywhere else. But then we do need the only piece of the skins that I didn't have on the hotbar yet. And that is the decor one. There we go. We could have the dragon, the wyvern, or the trike. I think the trike I'm going to go for, because I don't think it needs to be too big. I just wanted something on the wall above it. I think that is enough. And then we probably want to have some banners as well. And we can use some of these banners probably under the window. There we go. Some nice banners hanging over there. Do I want to have one here? Why not? There we go. I think that is a pretty nice addition here. We have a little watchtower, as well as the guard post underneath it, of course. Oh, am I floating through things? So yeah, we have the guard post inside, of course. You come up here, you have the watchtower. Do we want to have anything else up here? I don't know. Kind of like having it open as like a proper guard post. Maybe we could have like a small building here, but I kind of don't want to block that either. Can I still walk here? It's gonna squeeze right through there, but technically I could still fit there. So that's 2. I guess we could. There we go. Yeah, probably should have an entrance there. And then we can definitely have some windows on this side. I kind of want them to be in the middle, so maybe we do these. There we go. So we'll have a window in the middle and another window in that middle. So we want to fill those in. We have a door there. So basically we want to just build like a little building on top of here, right? Because we already have like the main structure, but we kind of just want to fill this square up with just that little bit more. And I don't think we want to go too tall with this. And we don't really want to have it stick out too much on this side either, because then it's going to go over the staircase. So we'll raise it up a tiny bit. Just that little bit. And then we'll use those. Then we should be able to get a nice trim on the outside, of course, with the quarter pieces. And I remember that we had these smaller pieces, and this is, I guess, also just a quarter roof. Yeah. So we do want to have the quarter roof sticking out, and then we shouldn't see them stick out. So it shouldn't be that much of a problem. There we go. Kind of lines up with this. Yeah, and here, I think we can get away with that. I think that's fine. And of course, we can fill in our actual roof pieces in the middle. There we go. Which roof should we go for? I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of building we're going to make out of this, right? But, I mean, what does make sense? I feel like just making a very simple building out of this probably makes the most sense. Also, we need to extend these pillars by half. To get them to the right height. What do we do? Kind of like, I think I kind of like the village here because the contrast is quite nice. So I think I'll go for the village for this tiny building. at least for the roof. We could always mix and match, of course, with the walls. There we go. Yeah, see, you can make this a lot shorter on the outside. And we could even... There we go. You can even make these thinner as well. We can make it a lot thinner. So that the footprint of this building isn't that big, right? There we go. Make these small. We'll have to flip all these around to make them line up again. And then we make those smaller. There we go. What if you build a sided sloped roof? No, I think this is fine because I don't want it to be anything too special or too standing out. I think this needs to be just a very simple one because we're going to have more buildings right around there. It's like just a little, basically where the guards can take a little break, right? Just a very simple little building. I do think we want to make this out of stone. There we go. Oh no. Why did I do that? There we go. Don't misplace them, please. There we go. Oh my god, I did it again. It's so, because you can't see, but those of course is still the roof pieces there. I just made them look smaller. But the hitbox is still gonna be there. Nope. I want it to be village. There we go. And now it will also blend in with the existing castle. If we're using these, let's see. There we go. Yeah, just a simple little guard post basically. And then for the windows, I think we do want to just use those glass textures for the windows. Yeah, maybe those round ones are quite good. Is there any variance up here? That might be a bit much. Yeah, I don't think we want to do that. Let's keep the normal one here as well. We might be able to add a little roof here on the front though. You know what? We'll extend this a little bit more. We'll make that a little bit bigger. Just a little bit more. There we go. Oh, we could even... No, I think... Oh, no, this is fine. And then we probably want to change these variants. Maybe to those, actually. Those are quite nice, right? Yeah, I think I'll go for those so that it doesn't match the roof. It's just its own separate thing. We have a little guard post here. Nice and simple. And we can technically still walk here. There we go. Just a little bit. And then probably what we want to do is add a little bit of extra details in. Just like that. I mean, technically we could also go for these, right? It would also make it a little bit more difficult to walk through these because you're not going to. Let's take it slow. Probably one of the buildings is going to be quite something already. Let's see which one. Probably this one over here would be a good one to take on because it's kind of close to where we just built. So that's probably what we should do. And again, it all starts with lining up these entrances so that we can make them usable. There we go, that works. And then we will see how well it will fit the rest of it. That's a decent fit. That's a pretty decent fit. We can just have some quarters to fill in the back. Hopefully that doesn't overlap too much on the outside. A little bit, but nothing too crazy. Nothing we can't handle. That's totally acceptable. Because basically this bottom layer is going to be kind of the foundation layer for the entire build, right? I would even say that we would spawn it here on the front as well. Get those full foundations in. And then we'll see what other additions we make. We can take some of these temporary foundations away now that we're starting to build here. It should all solve itself. There we go. So that's going to be the entrance here. This first layer is definitely still going to be castle tier because it's still in the stone structure. There we go. I guess it's worth the shot to see if that would still fix. I don't think we can place it there, so I guess we won't. Not too big a deal. Ooh, that is kind of a perfect match if we do that. Does that actually work? Look at that. That's perfectly aligned with the top here. Although we do need to remember that we used some quarters at the back. So that does mean that we can also have this one for that corner. Make that fit. Oh, I can't make that one continue down. That's crazy. Okay, so kind of lines up perfectly. That's quite insane. I've never really had that before that well. I do think we're gonna have some pillars here, because then we can basically extend the building on the second layer, and here we'll have like a little workshop that has the overhang above it. I think that's nice. So we have that entire layer now, and now if we fill this up with ceilings, it should match up perfectly here with the front, and we'll want to continue that all the way to this layer. Yeah, that's matching up quite nicely. This is a really nice ruin. It's also raining again, apparently. There we go. So yes, there's definitely some holes in here, and it's also definitely the case that I am on the outside, but this might have to be one of the walls fully repaired. I guess the downside is if I do this. Oh no, this one is gonna fit right in there. This one also fits on the outside. I don't always quite like if I have to rebuild the entire wall. Maybe we can just do this. So it kind of just looks like they repaired part of it. Maybe even... I mean, there is a little sliver in that case. But that does look nicer. So I might go for that. Alright, so here on the front at least, these pillars, I think I'd want to be made out of wood. These ones, I'll definitely want to have made out of stone still, because that's still the bottom layer here. These ones as well, of course. And then I guess this layer definitely is going to be made out of wood, right? This is just the next floor. There we go. We can have a little entrance. We definitely also want to have a staircase coming up. Okay, so we can have a stair, but it's kind of going to be not connected to the wall, which isn't terrible, of course. Oh, well, this is going to be tricky, isn't it? Because half pillars don't quite work yet, but maybe we can work around it. There we go. Yeah, we can just overlap two railings into each other so that we can still have them follow the staircase. One minor issue is now that there we go. Yeah, that's what I wanted. It's still there. That's what we need. Okay. The question is, will it stay? Oh, it will. Good. There we go. So now we have a nice little staircase to get up here, which is exactly what we wanted. And we can, of course, finish that, but we'll need these in here. There we go. Just like that. And then definitely we probably want to have just that village skin there. So that's creating our nice little staircase from the bottom up here to the top. I do think here for these sides we can use the arches to get something really nice. Actually, we need it like this. Perfect. And then we want the trim skins for those, which we can change. There we go. That looks quite nice. I think we'll do it for these as well on the front. Awesome. So yeah, basically that creates a little bit of room here for like a nice little workshop for forges and stuff. You know, that's the beauty of these skins. And I guess then it's time to actually make a building. It's 3 wide right now. It's called the Variant Cycle gun, made by Sandy. Variant Cycle, if you search for that, you'll find it. Variant Cycle tool or gun, either one of those. So it's 3 wide. We want to probably expand that, but that might actually be a good thing. Because that means we can just add another layer out here, which also means, oh god. Nope, that's the one thing that I needed. Apparently, shouldn't go messing with things that were perfectly fine. There we go. Don't mess with those. Just add another layer around this. It's fine. It's probably better that way. We can add some extra details. So yeah, we're basically going to add just that little ledge around before we add the building on top. Which is going to add a little bit of 3D to this. Well, yeah, but the gun and the skins are 2 different things. The gun you can use with any cosmetic. It's just a mod to help you do cosmetics better than the basic system. It just changes the options without having to go into the menus as much, because otherwise you spend ages going through menus to change settings. That's why you want to have the gun, basically. All right, so what texture contrasting with the normal stone of the castle or the ruins themselves. I actually want to have something here too to fill in that gap. You know, because yeah, there's kind of a hole in the front there. There we go. Now that is filled in too. All right, let's see. So basically what I would do here is create like a little area with a forge and a smithy. That's kind of already gonna do a lot. If we have smithy there, and we'll add the forge right next to it. Already feels quite nice like that. Then we can probably add a few other things, like we definitely want to have a sign later on, but the weapon racks, of course. If this is going to be a smithy, then it's probably going to be wise to have one of those pikes. We could have the lances, but we probably want to have the lances out here. And then the swords. There's a little bit of a display around here. Okay, well now I'm gonna have to craft a bunch of those. So we'll make a few swords. We'll have a few pikes. We will make a few lances. I don't know if the castle... I don't think they have things for those things, right? No. Unfortunately not. Alright, so we take some of these, we put them in here. And that adds our decor. We do some pikes in here. More decor. Some swords in there. And some swords in here. Wait, I added more swords in there. And it's... oh, only showing me one. There we go. So yeah, that makes a nice cozy little work area there. So I guess this is more like a weapon smith more than anything, but we can add in this one. There we go. I have a little sign along the street that really already adds the... I'm not sure why I'm adding details in already. We're not even done building the whole thing, but that's totally fine. Totally fine. So yeah, I guess would be a little bit tricky, but we could get a little workplace going here maybe. There we go. Now we can finally use these. And awesome. I think there might actually be a skin for this as well. Actually, would this be possible? Kind of. We kind of could do this, and I think that variant is available for the ramp. So there we go. We could make the street go down like that. We need to fix that little corner, of course, but we have a little area. And I think then what I want to do here is the Castlecraft has a nice fireplace, which we're going to just use as a part of the smithy as well. There we go. Oh no, it's going to have to be right in the middle there. Otherwise, it's going to break my mind. Okay, come on. There we go. That looks quite nice. We'll have that here. We can, of course, have an extra little forge around it. And a little workplace here as well. The only downside, I guess, we can't really do it there because... Or can we change the size of it? I know CKF has that. I don't know if this... Oh, this can. Oh, geez. Oh, boy. What variants does it have? Large? Small? Okay, I guess it gets a lot bigger if we wanted to, but that's gonna be hard to fit there. Let's see. So basically what we want to do is line this up a little bit more like there, maybe. Damn, look at how big that gets instantly. But this would work. This could probably already work. And I guess that's just going to be part of our little workplace now. There we go. Do we have an anvil? That would be good. There we go. Blacksmith decor. This is exactly what I need. I just need an anvil like this. There we go. That looks fine. A little bit of detail here along the street side. But, yeah, I like that. Let's actually now focus on finishing this building. Again, I don't think I want to do anything too crazy or complicated for these builds. Or this building. Because we're going to have to build like a whole village. So we're kind of going to keep it quite simple here. Oh, there's 3... Oh, there's nothing simple about this, is there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so it's uneven. You know what I think we need to do? We take up this. So we make our lives a whole lot easier. Alright, we'll have window there, window here. Oh, we can't have it there then. Just like that. And I think we will have a little bit of a balcony over on this side. I think that could be nice. And I can probably do that. If I change those out, I should be able to add a few of these in. And I should be able to get those to look like the bigger supports. There we go. Or do I just use these ones? I might actually use these ones because they match the other ones we're using. There we go. So that just gives us a little tiny balcony on this side, which I feel like is a nice addition to kind of break this side up. Add a little bit of something special here. And especially if we're going to make like a little garden area, which I feel like we will, then that's going to be a really nice side to have a little balcony on. I did want to place that in, please. So yeah, we'll change those to actual windows, of course. That's going to be a village door. And then I guess we're basically gonna just try to get a roof on this, because again, I don't want to go too complicated on this building, just because we're gonna have to build quite a few in this castle before it's done. There we go. We'll probably start with normal walls. We have 2 more, so maybe 2 windows in the middle. So we have this one, 2 windows in the middle. There we go. I think I probably want to have a beam at least going across these sides, right? Do I want to have one? There we go. Yeah, we can. So then we can still make this look quite nice indeed. There we go. So it kind of feels like it continues all the way around. That is quite nice. And I'm still very tempted to also just add in those, although that's straight above the windows. That's the only downside of that. Maybe I'll do it a little bit higher up then, because it is definitely a nice addition, right? And then if we skin the rest of it, it's gonna look like that. Quite nice. We can go across here as well. Let's add in these windows. I think those windows are quite nice for here. A little bit higher. There we go. There's so many options though. Quite like that beam continuing. Yeah, I quite like that. Let's do the same here on this side so that we have those sides of the building completed. There we go. Get the windows, and we have these windows here. We have those skins here. We have to flip. Oops. We have to flip this one. There we go. That's quite nice. That's coming together. And then we'll just have to fix this part of the build. And that means that we'll have a little porter roofs around the outside first. Can kind of just continue all the way like that. Add a little lip and then fill in the main roof, of course. Nice and simple as that. Yeah, and that chimney actually works quite well here on this side. Although, if we can, we kind of want to place it slightly more forward. Just a tiny bit, so that if I turn it into... There we go. So now it's not glitching with that wall. Perfect. That is looking quite nice. We'll skin all these. And there we go. Then, of course, we have to change all these variants again. But it's going to be worth it. We're going to have our first nice little village or townhouse in the castle walls here. A nice, simple little home. There we go. Flip them around. Just like that. There we go. Oh, no. This one, please stay in place. Yeah, there we are. Probably want to add a few more details along the top, maybe. Maybe something like this. And I actually think then for the middle, we're not even going to use these skins. We're going to go steampunk and use these railings, because they are quite nice. I think that works. Just to spice up that roof a little bit, you know? Make it a little bit more special. Got the little workplace in front. Little workplace here at the side as well. The blacksmith. Yeah, I quite like that. Let's get a little bit of greenery maybe in here. The wall vines. Definitely something that we want. Wait, there's new things as well. Extinction trees. That's not really a lot, but good thing to see. I didn't notice that before. So yeah, we are going to add a few of these. Apparently I can also resize these. Oh. Wait, did it like... Oh yeah, it's got... Oh, of course there's like the roofs there. It's like, wait, why does it snap so weirdly? But I guess it snaps perfectly because it remembers the shape, even if I don't. There we go. I guess it's gonna look a little bit weird, but that's quite nice. I mean, I feel a bit of the overgrowing is fitting for this place just because it is kind of a ruin, you know, and a lot of it is already overgrown, so we might as well try to keep that vibe going a little bit more. There we go. Oh, probably I also want to add in some of these. It would make the most sense to have two in the middle, I guess. I guess we'll go for that. Nope, I want to have my vines continue first. There we go. Awesome. That already does a lot for this build, you know, makes it a little bit more interesting. Maybe here on the front I can add a few of these. There we go. That's quite nice. Yeah, something like that. Just a little bit overgrown. And I think for the roof, we might want to add a little bit more 3D by having a few of these bushes around in certain spots. There we go. I was like that, you know, makes it a little made some very decent progress so far. I'm actually going to go rid of these so that we can look at it without having those random foundations in the way. But yeah, we have the blacksmith now. We have a nice tower and guard post built up in those ruins there. And of course, the gatehouse that we already built in the last episode. And together that already starting to make this place feel a little less ruined and a little bit more lived in. So yeah, good progress, I would say. But I'm going to call it a day for that because I need to get up very early next day, tomorrow. And I do need to finish a little bit of edits. So we will have to cut it there. But thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed, as always. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. That really helps me out. And feel free to leave suggestions you would like to see for the rest of the castle, or of course other builds that you would like to see on Ragnarok, or I mean, I guess on any map. But for the time being, I'm definitely on Ragnarok a lot. And then I hope to see you again in the next video or the next stream. A lot of cool, exciting things coming this week. Loads of cool builds and videos. So hope to see you then. Thanks so much for joining me today. And I'll see you in the next one. For now, goodbye.